this is Nemesis Stars, and apparently, basically in today's video, I'm going to talk about Pokemon ZA. And apparently what has actually happened so far in the game. So, apparently, so far I've actually captured 2 legendary Pokemon, being, the Pokemon of Life, and the Pokemon of Death. Now, apparently, I think it's Exnicius, or whatever you pronounce it, and Sodota, I don't know, I can't pronounce them properly. But anyway, basically, them 2 triggered me to have a fight with Zygarde. Oh god. Even though I haven't actually, done the infinite thing for the Master Ball yet, the Battle Royale thing, infinite, but apparently Zygarde is no joke. He feels very overpowered, in Pokemon ZA. So, problems with basically, Zygarde, is, in his final form, is 100% form. He's hard. Very, very hard to dodge. It made me think that if basically the trainer, the character, didn't have basically a damage, on the character itself, the blacking out thing, like if strikes hit the trainer, then blacked out. If they didn't have any of that, it would have been a lot easier to take out Zygarde. So, first fight and the second fight, 2 of the forms, the dog form and the snake form, are actually fine, I guess. The dog one's actually the easiest to fight, it's the weakest. The second one, the snake one, gets a bit harder, launches more attacks actually at you, basically making it harder to, dodge some of them. But yeah, when it gets into its complete form, yeah, no. It knocked me out once, and my god, I apparently felt frustrated that I blacked out. I was like, confused on how his attacks were working, how his attacks were actually going in the game. So basically, you've got a number of different attacks with, that were basically the last form of Zygarde. And he's a pain when it comes to it. So apparently he targets the player instead of the Pokemon, more. So it's like he ignores the Pokemon and whatever and focuses more on the trainer. He basically strikes the trainer more. So basically, it's hard to dodge, and such and whatever, out the way. Even though fighting him is basically not really that hard, it's the dodging that's the problem. The dodging is an absolute nightmare because he has a number of attacks. One of them is basically the Green Lightning Strike. So the Green Lightning Strike would basically, strike the whole field. That one's hard to dodge, especially when, basically the that and whatever, and you have to be in the middle. I couldn't dodge that. That one, I actually blacked out, just like that, because of that attack, that last one, which I didn't basically expect that. And I was processing in my head, how was I supposed to dodge that? And then there was a bunch of other attacks. So the other lightning thing is mostly basically kind of streams of lightning going in different directions or whatever, which you're actually supposed to be according to what I've heard, You're supposed to be like on the border of the force field around the battlefield. Supposed to be basically at the edge of it. Basically, you know, keeping you protected. I basically didn't know this. And then basically the other lightning thing, basically when it strikes, you have to like, you know, stand in a certain area to avoid it and whatever. Otherwise, you'd basically get attacked. I think this is why it frustrates me with the fight. I can't basically stand the fight, however, I feel like I just can't fight him again. Even though he's actually weak to ice types from what I've actually heard, because of him being a dragon and ground type. It means basically getting a Pokemon up to level 100 and then fighting him with a bunch of ice types. Yeah, that one's going to be tricky. Very, 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 very tricky. It's just bloody, yeah, it's bloody dodging. Like, you literally, like, could, just keep doing this all the time, dodging, running, striking, you know, basically, just all basically goes in like a loop or whatever, where you're basically doing the same thing all the time. It's not a bad mechanic, but it's just the bloody dodging that's a problem with against Zygarde. He's too overpowered. A lot of people have actually said in, you know, certain other games he was actually overpowered, like say Pokemon Go, he was very overpowered from what I've seen from people talking about Zygarde. And basically it's proven that he was very, very overpowered in Pokemon ZA. I don't know how I'm gonna basically fight him. I don't know how I'm basically going to dodge his attacks or whatever. It's kind of like I then have to like basically process when his strikes are going to occur, when basically figure how to actually dodge it and whatever. It's going to be hard. Like really, 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 really hard. Now, the one thing I wish that did happen against the Battle with Zygarde is a Pokemon with basically the, you know, with the ability to actually protect the player from damage. Now, basically what I had in mind was a similar thing that Zygarde does at some point in the story, where he actually, basically creates like some sort of protection barrier, you know, like when you go up against the evil version of Forte, basically, you know, the plant thing or whatever, like when you stand basically in that area to keep from getting hurt. Now, I wish the same applied against Zygarde, where basically you would beat a certain Pokemon. Now, there's a lot of Pokemon, basically, that would actually have the protection ability, like, you know, force fields and all that, and whatever, that would have actually been a good option for basically protecting. Now, basically, the number of ones I could literally think of is one of them being Mewtwo. Now, Mewtwo would have been a missed opportunity to help out with this scenario, you know, because he would have been awesome with protecting, even though he's actually in the DLC. Basically, from what I think he is, I think he is in the DLC. I think it's a shame, basically, that he's not in the main plot, basically, as a safe way to protect yourself from damage. From basically blacking out, basically, at all. Now, basically what Mewtwo literally could have actually provided in the game is basically some sort of protection, similar to basically when you're basically protected by Zygarde. So with Mewtwo, you'd be like, basically when he's going to basically strike with his big moves or whatever, like the first thing would be is when you know he's going to strike is go into that big massive purple, barrier thing. So you'd go inside the barrier or whatever, which would actually protect against Zygarde's attacks. Also, it would also protect your Pokemon, which I think would have been a better idea than just basically trying to dodge left and center all the time, whatever, trying to bloody attack or whatever. So I think the change, I think, if basically Mewtwo was involved, is he'd basically go in the barrier every couple of minutes or so to basically hide in there until the attack's finished, and then basically come straight back out, attack Zygarde, whatever. And then basically when he's ready to strike again, basically you'd go back in the thing or whatever, because Mewtwo would know basically when he's going to strike. So that would have been a better option because you would have known when he was going to strike, and you'd know basically when to basically dodge his attacks. But basically without any sort of protection barrier, it's hard to dodge. It's very, 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 very hard to dodge without a protection Pokemon. As backup. Now, basically also it would have actually helped a lot against Zygarde in general. Or basically if we had a companion trainer that actually helped out in this case scenario with a Pokemon that would have actually protected the player from getting blacked out by Zygarde's attacks. Basically also, I think the attack hit on the player is bad. Very, very bad. I actually think it's a bad mechanic to be hit by, attacks in general. It feels basically kind of wrong. It just feels weird to basically go through that, because many instances you'd feel like you're close to damage and whatever, you feel like you're close to blacking out or whatever. I actually just don't like mechanic very much. I think I prefer the old style where basically you just don't take any damage, and basically you feel a lot safer to keep continuing, whatever. Like, just imagine if basically you had no damage on the player in general, and it would mean your Pokemon would just keep attacking and attacking and attacking, which I think would have been better than just basically getting attacked with player damage. So yeah, I'm basically hoping the next Pokemon game will basically change the mechanic back to basically where you don't take anybody damage from Pokemon, because it's ridiculous. Even though I actually love the game, because basically I'm playing it right now, Zygarde is the last Pokemon in the Pokédex, and I don't know whether to take him on or not. I feel so close to rage quitting on him and just focusing on the Infinite Battle Royale instead, and such, and doing other things, however. It's tricky. Very, very, very tricky. I don't know what I'm basically going to do. So, apparently that's all I've got to say for today's rant and whatever. Basically, if you've actually played the game and have similar issues to Buddy fighting Zygarde, basically with the dodging whatever, I'd feel you. It is 100% hard. So, yeah. And if I do take upon the him again, I might actually end up using level 100 ice type, I think. Maybe like a Bomber Snow or something, maybe. Since a Bomber Snow is ice and grass type, maybe, because that might work. But yeah, we'll see. So that's all I'll say for the video, and yeah.